Hey guys, it's Jess, and I'm excited to be sharing another project for the Simon Hurley Create design team. This time I am showing you how you can create your own mixed media sort of backgrounds using the stark white paper from Simon Hurley's line and a bunch of different Simon Hurley products. So I'm starting out with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of the stark white cardstock. You can pick this up at Ranger or scrapbook.com. I've got everything linked down below that I'm using today, so if you're interested in anything, definitely check it out. First, I'm using two different colors of his dye inks. I'm using Remember Me, which is the blue color, and then Woof, which is the gray color. And I'm using the Frostbite stencil, which came out in Simon's newest release in August of 2019. And I'm just using an ink blending tool to blend on that ink over my stencil. So you can see that I am going to town. I am filling up this entire page with ink or stenciled areas, and it seems a little busy, but just you wait. It's going to be like, what the heck were you thinking, Jess? You should have just stopped a long time ago. But I think at the end, I'm able to pull it all together. Believe me, I had those same thoughts a few times myself. So stick with me till the end. I promise it gets better, or at least I think it does. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to do some sporadic stamping using that same Woof ink. And this time I'm using the Piano Recital pull apart rubber background stamp. So this is a red rubber stamp, and it's a background stamp that you can stamp all as one piece. However, you can also pull apart the rows of music and use them individually if you'd like to. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just tapping the rubber stamp into my ink pad and then randomly stamping it onto my background all over the place. Like I said, I know it looks crazy. I'm using this little piece of plastic over to the side, and I started tapping my paintbrush, and then I was like, no, this is way too much space for me to have to do that. So I just turned it kind of angled down towards my paper and started pushing it off with my paintbrush. This ink is actually the Remember Me ink, and I just smushed it right onto that piece of plastic, spritzed it with water with the Ranger Distress Sprayer, and then used that paintbrush to flick it on. Once it dried, it gives that really cool splattered effect, and I think it works really nicely with the like the Frostbite stencil and all of that. It gives that blustery sort of feeling. Okay, now this is the part where I'm like, I should have stopped, but I'm glad I didn't, because it actually ended up looking really cool. But I had a moment of doubt when I was looking at this, and I was like, what have I done? I ruined it. I ruined the whole background. But I think actually it was really cool. So I was going for sort of like a I don't even like a blizzard effect, kind of like the feeling of the season, if that makes sense. So it's got the blustery snow with the Frostbite stencil. It's got the music for Christmas carols. It's got the stars like Christmas lights or tinsel, or I don't know. It felt magical to me. And I'm really glad that I stuck it out and kept going with it. And here it's about to get even more crazy. You're thinking, okay, she's going to stamp this stamp on here, and wow, that's a really busy background. But then there's more. But wait, there's more. Then I stamped this set of carolers right over top of my tree, and you're thinking, what in the heck are you doing? Seriously, what is going on here? But bear with me, we're getting there. So I thought it would be cool, because I've been on a silhouette kick lately, if I made this little group of carolers look like they were facing the tree instead of facing the front of the card. So I'm coloring all of them in black, every one of their little parts. I'm coloring them in completely solid black, and I'm using my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers to do this. I have a new Illustrator marker there, and then the original coloring system. I just wanted to use up my coloring system one before I started on the Illustrator, since that's my newer marker. But anyway, I am just coloring the heck out of all of these images so that it looks like they are a shadow or a silhouette, so that it looks like they are looking at the Christmas tree. This took me a little bit of time, and I did have to actually go over the stamped images several times with my black marker, because I could still see the stamped lines. So that black ink that I used, it's actually the scrapbook.com black hybrid ink. It's an exclusive product for scrapbook.com. Their black is apparently blacker than the ink in the Spectrum Noir marker, because I could still see those lines, and it took me quite a bit to be able to get rid of those. If I had this to do over again, I would stamp the carolers in a lighter color, like a gray or something like that, just so that you could still see the outline, so I would know where to color, but I wouldn't be competing with those black lines and having to color it over and over and over again. So you can see I started to do it there. I didn't include all of that on the video because nobody wants to just watch me color the same thing over and over and over again. But just so you know, I did have to go over that a couple times. Now I'm moving on to the Christmas tree. And this is where I think the card sort of starts to come to life, because beforehand you're like, wow, this is a hot mess. This looks disastrous. There's all that crap in the background. There's this caroler set of 3. There's this Christmas tree, and they're all like overlapping and crazy. And it just looks like, wow, not good. But now it's starting to turn into a little scene, which is so cool. This is my favorite part of a card, is when you think like, oh nope, I ruined it, better give up, but then you keep going and it actually turns out cool. That's definitely my favorite. So I decided to start building up my little scene here, and to do that, all I'm doing is just adding a little bit of warm gray marker to the bottom. I was trying to match the colors sort of closely to the gray color that is the Woof dye ink. I didn't want it to be too contrasting, so here I am with my warm gray markers. I'm adding in a little bit more. I didn't think I colored in quite enough of the tree. I did add some shading just to give it a little bit more depth and dimension. And I'm really, really happy with the way that this turned out. I think that this was a really neat idea when it ended. Along the way, like I said, I had my doubts for sure. So I am just going to be adding in a few little details. I'm going to add shadows around their feet as well, so that it looks like they're standing on like the ground somewhere and not just floating in midair. But I really think that just those little itty bitty details make a big difference. And, you know, when you add those, it really helps pull the whole card together. I did decide to go back in with a white gel pen. Well, it's actually a paint pen. This one is Dilutions, so it's from Ranger. It's very fine point, which I really like, and it allows me to add those little details to the Christmas tree, so it makes it a little bit brighter, and I feel like it kind of helps draw the eye and make it a little more visually exciting, rather than just being kind of a dull thing in the background. So I decided, since they are carolers and they're standing around a Christmas tree, that I would make them have some little music notes coming up out of their mouths, their heads, above them, okay? So I just added them sort of randomly. Whatever I thought would look nice, no particular rhyme or reason, and just a couple on both sides. I didn't do any in front of the Christmas tree because I wanted to leave that as the focus. I did also heat emboss this sentiment, Silent Night, Holy Night, on a piece of black cardstock. I used the Ranger white embossing powder, and I fussy cut the sentiment out and then popped it up on foam so that it would like not take up too much space, and it would look really cute and intentional up there in the corner. And then mounted that to a white A2 size card base, and that finished off my card. I hope that you guys love it. Definitely let me know what you think down below, if the background was too busy or if you think it all came together nicely. I'm always really interested to hear what you guys think about what I'm creating. Definitely check out some more videos if you're interested in sticking around or you like what you saw. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I will see you in another video really soon.